what's up, New Zealand and the world? Welcome back to Kiwi Voice. My name is Lucas Lawmans, and today we're going to take a look at the goings-on over the last couple of days there in Wellington with the Convoy 2022 protest. Now, having arrived at Parliament grounds, there's been a lot to take in over the last couple of days. I wish I could have been there on the ground. That would obviously be much preferable. But in the absence of that, what I'm going to do is give you a roundup of information from independent journalists and mainstream media, put my spin on it, and will hopefully give you a better picture in terms of what's gone on over the last couple of days. So let's check it out. So as the basic facts first, and that is the convoy began with two separate parts, obviously, with the North and South Island of New Zealand, starting at Cape Reinga in the far north and Bluff right at the bottom of the South Island, driving through both islands with the goal to arrive in Wellington and set up an occupation or a protest at Parliament grounds. So after a couple of days driving, they arrived yesterday afternoon on the 8th, that is a Tuesday. They trickled through across the afternoon, both from the north and the people that had come through from Picton on the ferry. As you could imagine, it was fairly well splintered by then, and the convoy was at times up to 40 kilometres long, so it took some time for them to all get in there. Initially, there was a camping contingent of around sort of in the tens there somewhere, 10, 20, 30, 40 people that decided to pitch camp on the Parliament lawns. Now that's important. Shortly I'll explain to you why. At its peak on that first afternoon, that was really enthusiastic crowd of protesters. There were thousands, there were definitely thousands. This video shows it well. Credit to Murray Chong, just a citizen out there at the protest, posted it on his page, made it shareable. I've stolen and let you have a good look there. So you can see that there definitely were thousands and it was fairly well behaved. Everything was going well at that point. Early into the evening / late afternoon, there was significant fusion that blew up mainly online from an incident involved in one of the speakers at the protest. Now, there was significant confusion as it was thought that the speaker was to have told people to go home. Now, this created pandemonium on Facebook between the Convoy 2022 group, the Freedom and Rights Coalition groups that have both got thousands of members. A lot of posts between both groups slinging accusations either way. Hundreds and hundreds of people it was getting fairly heated, at least in the online space. Around about the same time, the crowd did shrink significantly, down more closer to 1,000 or in the hundreds, and a lot of that was blamed on the fact that this presenter made this statement that was misconstrued. Now, say it was misconstrued, both groups put out statements, both clarifying that the blame was to go in neither direction. The statements were misconstrued. Supposedly the speaker had advised people to move their cars to let people working get home or something along those lines. Regardless, both groups, Convoy 2022 and the Freedom and Rights Coalition, cleared the air online fairly sharply, did a little bit of moderation around some of the posts and the mudslinging that was going on, and we think we moved past that initial that initial issue. And as it turns out, the crowd has swelled again today. So clearing that up, everything was sort of moving along in the usual peaceful protest manner this morning. At around 10:30 a.m. today, Wednesday, the 9th of February, approximately 100 police officers entered Parliament grounds and got into formation. It was a bit of an intimidating sight. Let's take a look at this live footage from Chantal Baker on the ground.
God defend our free land from dissension, envy, hate, and corruption, guard our state. Lord. Make our country good and great. God defend New Zealand. Peace, not war, shall be our boast. Peace, not war, shall be our boast. But
oh guys, my heart is a bit heavy for New Zealand right now. This guy's tangata whenua from here, from this land.
So as you can see, there was some concern, understandably, just from a visual standpoint. It's turned out that although I personally think that that is a little bit excessive in terms of force, they have remained peaceful and not incited anything in the crowd. They've just put a barrier up there of policemen. So maybe the politicians are concerned. That wouldn't surprise me either. But anyway, that was one of the significant events this morning. Following up from last night's news, Trevor Mallard, the Speaker of the House and Government, had issued trespass notices to the organisers, said to have been thrown on the ground in disgust. He's given them information as well with regards to where people are able to protest on the grounds. This has been blowing up a little bit in the mainstream media, but it's really just around the camping regulations on government lawns. So that's been clarified. Those campers may well have to move, the people in tents, etc. that have set up camp, but not something that should deter serious protesters, I wouldn't think, so they may have to move on. At this stage, they have not. Was further reporting on through stuff whereby they've said all protesters have been trespassed from Parliament grounds. Not sure how they can exactly do that, but it hasn't had an effect. No protesters are going anywhere at this stage at all. And here we are at after 4 p.m. in the afternoon on Wednesday the 9th, and the crowd has swelled again. The main political leaders, Jacinda Ardern and Chris Luxon, have both come out with statements saying they will not engage with these protesters at all, which to me seems quite disrespectful. But there you go. Luxon also came out as main opposition and stated that he supports mandates, so he's not going to be much help to these people either at all, or not listen to their concerns. In that regard, it seems to me, the political choices we have between Labour and Nationals, the two major parties, are one and the same cloth over an issue such as this. You may get some better organisation from the other side, but that's going to be about it. Later in the day, Luxon has put out a statement again that he's after Jacinda to put an end date to these mandates. So playing political games, probably not worth listening to. Then finally, at 3:30 p.m. this afternoon, so just on, it'll be a couple of hours ago now by the time you view this, 3 men were arrested. They broke through the police line, or attempted to. Photos are here of the initial breach and then one of the men being arrested. It was only a small minority group that have tried this on. They are not representative of the protest. I have to chuck that out there. Much as the politicians will say these protesters are not representative of New Zealand, those protesters are not representative of the rest of the protest, just to make it clear. The close-up photo here shows that one of the arrestees is in fact Brett Power, and that's where we are at this stage. Peace has resumed after that fracas. It's the kind of incident that's going to throw the whole protest into disregard with a lot more people, unfortunately. So bad move by them, but peace has been restored, and hopefully they can carry on with things. That's me for today. I'll try and keep an eye on things and give you another roundup tomorrow or the next, depending on what's going on. Thanks once again for tuning in. If you haven't already yet, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, hit that like button, comment down below, share the links, continue to get this blowing up. We gained over 800 followers in one weekend with our coverage of the convoy, so stoked to be part of the growing media revolution in New Zealand. Thanks once again, stay safe, stay free, and we'll see you real soon.